Sexual reproduction by flowering plants. Plants produce their offsprings through seeds. Seeds contain the genetic information to produce a new plant. In most cases, the major part of the plant responsible for sexual reproduction is the flower. That is, both male and female gametes are produced by the flowers. So let's learn about the structure of a typical flower to make our studies easier. There are generally four parts for a typical flower. They are petals, sepals, stamen and pistil or carpel. The stamens and pistil are the male and female reproductive parts of a flower. Stamen is the male reproductive part of the plant consisting of anther and filament. The anther is the part of the plant where pollens are produced and stored. Filament is the long slender part of the stamen which supports the anther and helps in the development of pollen grains. The pistil is the seed-bearing female part of a flower and consists of an ovary. Pistil can also be referred to as a collection of carpels in a fused manner. It has three parts: stigma, style and ovary. Stigma, which is the top sticky part, during pollination receives pollen grains from other plants. Style is the middle long slender tube-like part which acts as the link between stigma and ovary. Ovary is the swollen part which contains ovules. Each ovule has an egg cell, that is a female gamete. The flowers may be bisexual type or unisexual type. A bisexual flower is a flower that contains all the four parts such as petals, sepals, stamens and pistils. For example, mustard and hibiscus. In some cases, the flowers may be unisexual, that is, having either stamens or pistil. For example, papaya and watermelon. Pollen grains are male gamete and ovules are the female gamete. The male gamete reaches the female reproductive part through a process known as pollination. Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from an anther to the stigma of the flower. There are two types of pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the stamen to the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one plant to the stigma of another flower of a different plant. It generally takes place with the help of some agents like insects, birds, wind and water. They are termed as pollinators. These pollinators, while collecting nectar, gets dusted with the pollen grains of that flower, and while visiting another flower for capturing nectar, those pollen grains get deposited to the stigma of another flower. Once the male gamete or pollen grain reaches the female gamete, fertilization occurs. Fertilization is the process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Pollination is followed by fertilization in plants. The events that take place are: firstly, pollen grains land on the stigma of the plant. Pollen tubes grow out of the pollen grains, travel through the style, the tubular structure and reach the ovary through micropyle. The pollen tube has two male germ cells. Each ovule has two polar nuclei and a female germ cell. Pollen tube releases two male germ cells inside the ovule. One of them fuses with the female germ cell and forms the zygote, which grows into a new plant, that is an embryo. The fusion is known as syngamy. The other male germ cell fuses with two polar nuclei. The process is called triple fusion. So, in flowering plants, two fusion takes place during fertilization. It is called double fertilization. After fertilization, the zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. The transformation that occurs are: ovule develops a tough coat that changes into the seed. The ovaries grow rapidly and ripens to form a fruit. The petals, sepals, stamens, style and stigma fall off. The advantage of having the seed is that it protects the future plant or embryo. The seed has three parts: a seed coat, endosperm and an embryo. The seed coat provides protection to the seed. Endosperm provides nutrition to the seeds. The embryonic part of the seed is the main portion where the main cells required for growth and development of the plant are seen in embryos. The embryo consists of the following parts. Radicle, embryonic root, it becomes the future root. Plumule, it is the embryonic shoot. Tip of the epicotyl, which becomes the future shoot. Epicotyl, region above the cotyledon, it gives rise to stem. Cotyledons, stores food and provide nutrients to the cell required for growth. The process of development of a seedling from the embryo to a plant under appropriate conditions is known as germination.